What is up, everybody? Welcome to Saturday. Welcome to the Ham Radio Crash Course. It is I, Josh KI6NAZ, and thank you so much for checking us out. First stream after hitting 100,000 subscribers. Oh my gosh. Every YouTube will tell you, I never thought I'd be here. And I am no exception to that at all. I am totally thankful for everybody. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. It is amazing. So just wanted to say big thank you right up front. And of course, the link is in the description to the video. I am giving away a ICOM 7300 April 25th. So if you have not already, please go get in on that. Man, yeah, what a crazy week. How is everybody doing with the human malware virus? I hope everybody's doing okay. I'm all right. The family's okay. We're dealing with it much like you all are. I guess I can cut the theme music here. So I hope everybody's staying safe, staying in when you can. I'll give a big cheers to all the support and thank you for the 100K. Thank you for watching me coming out here on your Saturday. I've got kind of a captive audience, but I appreciate you nonetheless. So thank you very much for that. All right. We do have a lot to talk about, and we have a lot of slides. I got a lot of questions that I'm going to answer, and I'd like to also do call-ins. This could be a very, very long stream, so hopefully you'll bear with me. I hope you get involved when I turn that call-in number on, which will be at the end, and you can ask a question if I don't cover it, but I'm going to try to hit a lot of things today, so bear with me. I already mentioned it. We'll go back to the video here, the 100,000 subscriber giveaway. We're going to do a live stream, hopefully have a lot of the HRCC friends on, and we're going to be doing obviously a giveaway with ICOM, and we'll have some other fun stuff that I'll be giving away, so I am very excited about that. Let me fix my camera a little bit. There we go. Cutting off I like to clip the chat just above my head a little bit. I like to do that. I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm super cool technology guy. I can float my camera above the chat room. Wow. Okay, big news though. Probably the biggest thing. There's two really big things. One, that although I know of it, I'm not really that involved. They're starting to do remote testing, and they're starting to take the lists. They're trying to build a list of people to do testing with. And the link is in the description for a document that you really must read and understand before you dive in headfirst into this. The VEC is GLARG with work. They're working with exam tools. hamstudy.org is involved in this. And basically, this is what we're looking at right here. You can see this if you go to the link is in the description to check that out. But basically, there's a whole list of things you must do. So make sure you follow that. I'm probably pointing a lot of people at this thing right now, and I hope everybody does the due diligence and reads, but make sure, I think the big thing they want you to make sure is that you're ready to take, and we're editing it live, or someone is editing it live. The big thing is please be ready to take the test. If you think you're going to pass and you're pretty confident you're going to pass, then go through the process. If you don't have your license yet or you're looking to upgrade. So please. Anyway, you can read that. I'm going to hop off of that. Also, let's see. I did a proper podcast. Normally, I just take the audio from these shows and I turn them into an MP3 and I upload it as the Ham Radio Crash Course podcast. However, my wife sat down with me and we did a proper podcast. And I had a great time. I thought it was a lot of fun. So hopefully you'll check that out. The link is in the description for that as well. Who do we got? We got a bunch of people. Hello from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. That was like that was my last DX contact I made was Alberta from Southern California. Yeah, right. Ricky Pont says, practicing social distancing before it was cool. Indeed, that is Ham Radio in a nutshell. And my wife is in the chat, and the DX Commander is in the chat. We got the Smokin' Ape. I see him. K8MRD radio stuff. We got Ethan, one of our admins. Oh, my wife is an admin now. Oh, man, you guys better be careful. She'll just start banning you. So thank you very much, Leia, for hopping in. And hello from Nagoya, Japan. All right, I love that. That's the easiest DX for me is to hit Japan generally. So camping in the HRCC talk group. Hey, we do have a talk group. It is, go to the website hrcc.link, and it'll give you all the details if you want to get in on that. And that's a DMR talk group, a Yaesu System Fusion, what do we call that, chat room, and there's a Wires X room as well. So pretty much everything. We're working on D-Star. It's a process. We'll get there. So thank you for checking that out. Let me get that closed for a second so I don't lose my mind. Okay, now I do have something else. I'm going to show this, and we're gonna play it live. I got also an email that was kind of a reply to the stream we did with Sterling Mann on the remote drive-up testing. Well, remote's the wrong word. Drive-up testing that happened. So let's go ahead and play this.
Hey everybody, this is Mickey, N2MC, November 2, Mike Charlie from the Warren County Radio Club.
Warren
We
County's
just
in New
finished
York.
with our
We mentioned this
drive-up
last week
VE
or the week
testing
before.
session. I'm going to give you the lowdown on what we did and how we did it.
The goal was to keep everyone safe while providing quality amateur radio testing. Emails were sent to the candidates outlining the instructions. Candidates would stay inside their personal vehicles while VEs would observe at a safe distance. Vehicles would need to be cleared of all papers, cell phones, etc., and windows cracked so VEs could hear inside. The cars were parked and VEs arranged at intervals of 11 feet.
It's like I know how to use
X's
YouTube,
on
right?
the pavement marked the spots. Our VEs grading the test had full view of all candidates while observing current social distancing guidelines. Our session manager, Frank, KA5VVI, presented the initial greetings and instructions with a low-power FM transmitter over the candidates' FM broadcast radios.
Cool.
The test continued like
Nice use of
most any
technology.
VE session, but with a few extra safety measures in place. Candidates were comfortable in their own vehicles. Grading with gloves is now more fashionable than ever and provides another level of safety.
Oh, there we got John. That's him.
Meredith,
Very good.
N2MOM, organized the paperwork and handed out the results to our happy recipients. We would like to thank the
That's
ARRL and all the dedicated VEs who helped make this happen.
Fantastic.
N2MC 73.
So I'll pause that. That's w2wcr.org. I don't know if they're planning another drive-up session. They might be. So hopefully you take part in that. I was talking to my wife about that. We don't know how they work that out because, don't you have to non-essential, right? I don't know how that worked out. Maybe they've got something because you can be emergency responders. Don't know, but I thought that was pretty cool. All right, what else do we have to talk about? So many things. So many things. Reminder, we got a Discord, we got our Facebook. The link is in the description. You got to go down a little bit. Please join our Discord, though, because after we finish up the live stream here, if you don't feel like asking your question, we go over to Discord. It's a voice chat. It's like a big party line. You can ask your question in voice or you can text chat it to me. It's a much smaller group, but it's still a lot of people. So join early if you haven't used Discord before so you can get your audio mic stuff sorted out. And you can do that while watching me. It's pretty easy. So right on. Ham radio is essential, Jeeper Creeper says. Hey, 86 DM Dennis is in the house too. Right on. We got a lot of people, man. Thanks so much. We got 514 people watching at the time of me looking down, so thanks for that. Callum, DX Commander here on YouTube. He streams before me, and he did a great ham radio quiz session with his daughter and friend, and I believe I get the two mixed up. It's Emily and Hannah, but one of them is his daughter, and the other is his daughter's roommate. And they did a great job, and they gave a shout-out to me, a couple of shout-outs in there, but one of the things was the question was about my dog, and I am very proud of my dog. Nope, wrong one. Where is it? There's my dog. That's Charlotte. In one of my favorite pictures, that's actually a video. This is also Charlotte. I have a corgi, and he didn't show the pictures, and so I just wanted to show the pictures of my dog. So this is not ham radio related at all, but appreciate it nonetheless, Cal, for the shout out. So thank you so much. Corgis are derpy fun, but amazing dog. That's one of my favorite pictures that I took of the dog. It was for my wife's birthday or something like that. But anyway, just wanted to show the pictures, so thank you. Okay, and lastly, before we kick this whole thing off, because I think I'm pretty much caught up here, I got a shout out, or we got a shout out, on the Ham Radio Crash Course in the May 2020 QST. If you turn to page 24, letters from our members. appealing to the next generation of hams. And Brian Wasson, I think I'm saying that right, KI5GKF, gave a really nice letter, which you see here to my right, I guess. Really just thank you for that. That was fantastic. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for doing that. It was very nicely written and meant a lot to me. And I also really appreciate the shout out to Becky for coming on our show. We had a great time with Becky. Her and I talk on email. And oddly enough, someone that works for Becky was listening to a podcast. That podcast was the Fieldcraft podcast, which has probably brought a lot of you on. By the way, we've got 556 people watching right now. A little shout out to the Fieldcraft group. But Becky's person that works with her said, oh, I heard a ham radio guy mention the ARRL and On the Air magazine. Who was it? Oh, it's KI6NAZ. So she sent me a message. So thank you for that. And I thought that was pretty cool. Oh, Cal's going to bed. Okay, everybody. Cal is leaving the building. Thank you again, buddy. I appreciate it. And we'll talk to you hopefully soon here. So, right on. I want to remind everybody we are in a time of, emergency, depending on where you live and what the emergency situation's like with the pandemic and whatnot. As hams, don't do anything really dangerous. Don't be trying to do exotic antenna climbing tasks if you don't need to. Try and do things where you stay low to the ground. And the reason for that is I just don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to have to go to the hospital and potentially be around people that have the malware virus and potentially get it, or worse, slow down the emergency system. So, stay home if you can. Enjoy the time that you can with the ham radio you have, right? As Cal says, enjoy your ham radio. I agree with him 100%. So anyway, so those are my big things. I think I got through all of them. I did. Did I? I did. Okay. So what are we talking about today? I am doing this episode for myself. I'll tell you what, because what I'm going to do after this is I am going to timestamp this moment in time, and I'm just going to link everybody to this video from now on, because we all collectively as hams, but I know I'm getting a lot of it, and I know the Facebook group is, and I know the Discord is, lots of questions on what radio I should buy. What's the best ham radio? What's the best handy talkie? What's the best mobile? What's the best base station? So many questions about what radio to buy. Now, I appreciate that some of it is coming from people who are brand new in the hobby, coming straight in. Maybe they bought a Baofeng. Or I have got a lot of message from people who bought an FT3DR based off of Mike's recommendation on Fieldcraft Podcast from my recommendation, but he's right, by the way. That recommendation is the right one. So starting from that point, right, kind of there, but it goes much deeper than that, because there are multiple firsts in radio. What's the first HT I should buy? Or realistically, what's the first HT I buy after I buy a Baofeng? Because a lot of people do upgrade from Baofengs. What's the first mobile I buy? What's the first base station I buy? What's the first HF radio I should buy? So I'm going to walk through to some level of detail. I'm not going to get too crazy in the detail, but I want to try and answer that question as best I can and open kind of a path for you to think about the right questions going forward in looking at different radios, looking at different reviews online, and the whole 9 yards in that sense. Because the good news is that most radio these days are really good. So that's a big first thing that I have to say. On target reviews, what is the best all around jack of all trades, master of none antenna for the FT3? Probably the Signal Stuff Signal Stick. And the reason for that is you can't put an abri on this radio. The abri, the hump here on the top for the GPS, it won't take the abri. So the Signal Stuff Signal Stick, I like the one with the BNC adapter. So I'll say that right up front. That's because you sent the super chat. So thank you. On target reviews, I appreciate that. All right, so really the answer to this question is like, what's the best radio, is really going to be your budget, very important, and your goals, right? What are you trying to do with the radio? Because ham radio is really, really diverse. There's lots of different complicated areas you can go into with ham radio. So just saying, what is the best radio? Not really scratching the itch. There's more context that's needed. So you got to understand your goals. You got to understand what you're trying to achieve. If we're just talking handy talkies, okay, we can work with that. Are we talking about not a radio, but how far you want to talk. I want to talk 100 miles away to my family down, in another city, another county. Good. That's another thing we can build off of. That's a goal. Bill, VE7ODA, bought an FT3 after watching about 100 hours of the HRCC videos and advice from Josh. Thanks for the assistance. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support. But so with all that said, most of the radios today are good. You're gonna find that a lot of them, most of them, are all capable for meeting your goals. I am not, actually a couple of people have been saying this in comments, I am not brand loyal to any one brand. I try and look at all the radios that a particular brand has and make an opinion and a buying decision on those brands and their capabilities, right? So I have Yaesu HTs, ICOM HF radios. I have Kenwood HTs. I have a Kenwood Mobile, right? All that stuff, right? Keep that in mind as we go forward. So many slides and not nearly enough time. This is going to be a long one, guys. Okay, so here we go. I'm breaking this down into handy talkies. We're stepping into that first because that's where probably most of you are at. And I'm going dollar rating, a little bit of money, more money, a lot of money. Now, the pile of Baofangs, that pile of Baofangs represents every variant of Baofeng. The question that I get so much is, what is the difference between the UV5R and the UV alphabet soup, the UV9 alphabet soup, all the different variants? The only real variation in Baofangs is power output. So the BFF8 HP, 8-watt output. This is a 5-watt output radio. That's about it. Even when they have major cosmetic differences, the menu systems are largely the same. Their capabilities are largely the same. There are exceptions, like the tri-band Baofeng, good Baofeng, or the DMR Baofeng, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But if you're just talking about the Baofeng, messaging me about which is the difference between, oh, I just dropped a Baofeng on me, which is the difference between the different specific type little nuances doesn't really matter. They're pretty simple radios, and you can just say, this is probably good. I will give you the caveat of all caveats, though, with Baofengs and Chinese radios. If you're not buying it on Amazon, you're leaving yourself open to a little bit of risk. There are a lot of counterfeit Baofengs, counterfeit Chinese radios out there, Baofeng being the largest counterfeit one. Places like AliExpress, Wish, eBay is fraught with counterfeit Baofengs. I generally point people towards Amazon. And the reason for that is you can just kick it back to Amazon, say, fix it. It's not my problem. You don't have to work with the Chinese company if that's the route you're going to go. But we're going to walk away from Baofeng for a lot of this presentation. So bear with me. Baofengs are fine at the price point that you get started, but you could probably owe it to yourself to maybe look at some other radios as you get a little bit more experienced with radios. Chaz says, hey, Josh, high five. I appreciate the high five, and thank you for the super chat. Okay, so we're going to start with the column entry level, the lower tier. What you're looking at there is a bunch of Baofengs. The Baofeng UV5R, and then all the variants is kind of what that is encompassing. The Baofeng T1, which I've got one of them over here, and then the one next to that is the Baofeng DMR. So what do I classify an inexpensive or entry level? It's like under $100 is what I would classify that as. Oh, my slides are clipping out. Hold on. There we go. Now you can actually see all the pretty pictures without getting cut. So most inexpensive HTs are going to be dual band, generally dual band, although there are some better quality HTs that are mono band, 2 meters, 70 centimeters, etc. They're often always FM, frequency modulated, and you can generally find them as dual channel, like an A and a B channel. From that point, let's see. Some of them have broadcast FM receivers, so if you hold down the button, you'll get FM broadcasts. You can listen to FM stations because they're generally a lot of the same components, discrete components in the radio. That's what lets them do that. That's what's capable of doing that. And then most likely they're all programmed by chirp. Chirp is free software. I've covered it in many a video. If you're buying a Chinese radio, it's probably a pretty good call that you can find it on Chirp. And to do that, to program it, I still recommend getting the right programming cable, which is the one. Now, I had to change because they sold out of the other one. The newer one by MeerKit Systems is what I recommend because it's like a kit of programming connections for different radio connectors. So the Amazon link is in the description if you're interested in finding that or any of the products that we're going to talk about, so much that they are on Amazon. And I am an Amazon associate, so I get a bit of a cut if you buy through that. So just be warned. No extra cost to you, but you know, it's for pointing me there. It's my finder's fee. Grant, just to note about online testing, it's $5. Good note, Grant. And just so everybody understands, I got a question in the comments a couple of days ago. That money's not going to the FCC. Nobody's getting that as profit. That is an administration fee from the VEs that are doing the testing. So Chris Twig says, Josh, I've got so much information out of your content and wanted to give it back. Just ordered the FT60 as my second radio after the Baofeng. Right on. Very good. Jason Goldstein asked, truck rig talk, please. So I'm not going to go into antennas that much, but if you want to call in, or I'll try to remember to talk about that, I can. The reason is because I've already done videos on that. I have a ton of videos on mobile setups, mobile installations, stuff like that. Let's see. So the screens, you can see all the screens right there. They're pretty no frills. They look just like the frequency output. You don't get a lot more information because they don't do a lot more. They're all, I put small. They're all small. Most of them are small. Some of them will get a little fat, like the Radioddity and the Baofeng DMR radio. And so my pick for kind of entry level is if you're just going analog, just straight up analog. The FT4X, I think I'm giving it the nod over the Baofeng, the nod over the BFF 8HP at least. And I would kind of back that up with the FT65. And the reason why, and I'll be very specific, the FT4X is on the screen right now. I like the size of that one more than I like the size of the FT65. But right now at HRO, which you can go to their site and pull it up, it's $71. So it's cheaper than the FT4X to buy an FT65 right now, which is pretty good. And I'll give the nod to the Baofeng GD77, I'm sorry, the Radioddity GD77 and the Baofeng 1801 because it's a DMR radio at under $100 price point. Now, I am not an expert with either one of those radios. I'm not a DMR expert, but Zach Van, who is the admin, one of the admins over on the Discord side of the house, is very proficient. Actually, all of the moderators and admins over on the Discord side are really proficient with that radio. So there is a number of things you can do, including loading hacked firmware on there or updated firmware, modified firmware, to do a whole bunch of stuff. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're going to buy one of those radios, join the Discord. There's a lot of people to help you out. We got a section just for it. It's called Ham Help, chat room just for that. Somebody mentioned in the chat the FT65 is ridiculously easy to operate. I agree. So is the FT4X. It is so easy to program, much easier than the Baofeng programming it manually. Kev Anderson, thank you very much for the super chat. Just want to say thanks to all the YouTubers who put out such great content. Help to us get us guys started. Yeah, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. So those are my thoughts on inexpensive. And again, these are simple radios at the inexpensive level. They're generally just doing analog, FM, 2 meter, 70 centimeter. The note, though, with the Chinese radios, although some of that's changed a little bit, they come out of the box without the frequencies completely opened up these days. The Chinese radios generally have been wider banded in terms of the frequencies that you can receive with them, and technically transmit on. That's true too. Ray Canold, thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it. It's a cup of coffee. I probably need a cup of coffee. Okay, so mid-tier, I'm saying is $100 to $250. Again, budget. We're talking budget. One of the most important things. Budget and goals. So you're going to get better quality in the terms of construction of the internal components and the outer case, the construction of the case. You'll start to see digital pop up from the Japanese manufacturers at the $100 to $250 range. And really, it's about the $150 range when they start to pop up. And those modes are going to be D-Star and Yaesu System Fusion. There's a couple of different radios that will provide that capability, mainly the Yaesu FT60 and the ID31A Plus that is made by ICOM that does D-Star. The big caveat that I have to mention, D-Star Yaesu System Fusion, there are probably more DMR radios in the world in use today than there are D-Star and Yaesu System Fusion. But I would argue that both of those modes are easier to use and get up and running. So if you find that there are repeaters in your area that do Yaesu System Fusion, do D-Star, you might want to check out one of those radios. So that would be my recommendation. Some have wide band receive capabilities. So the FT60, one of my favorite radios, my first ham radio, can do airband. It can receive airband, and it actually can go up into 1.2 gig, I think, on the receive side, which is pretty good. And that's above 70 centimeters. That's above most of the Chinese radios. SLL, towards your next radio or related. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Generally, you start to see the Japanese radios being popular in this area, the $100 and $250, which, again, this is kind of like a quality comment. As the radios are produced by Japanese companies versus Chinese companies, the quality is going to go up. You're going to get kind of a better experience. You're going to get a better support system. You're going to get maybe a better use out of it, but jury's still kind of out on that because I've had good Baofangs that have lasted me for, I still own them and they're over 5 years old. So, you know, it depends. I will say that they're more consistent in the quality level that you're getting. Now, this is just my experience, but they're louder in general, inexpensive, the $100 to $250 in comparison to the less expensive ones. When you're paying that kind of money, you're going to get a louder speaker, you're going to get generally a better battery, and you're going to have some splash resistance when it comes to the capabilities of the radio out of the box, which is kind of the reason why you pay more for it. So my pick on the mid-tiers is the Anytone 878. It is a fantastic radio for the price, which is just under $200. It's very loud, and it has an extremely long battery life. My honorable mentions, which they're pretty much right there, it's kind of a tie, would be the FT60, which is still one of my favorite kind of wideband VHF, UHF, and higher receive radios. Still great. It's getting a little old, though. I hate to say it. I appreciate it. It's getting a little old. And then the FT70, you can get one of those for $140, I think, and it will do Yaesu System Fusion. And not far from behind that, I think the ID31A. So again, if you're in a D-Star area, the ID31A would be good for that too. That one's mono-banded though. That one is 70 centimeters only, so keep that in mind. Jace Ravenfield wants to see the Akiba strip anime pop up. Thank you for the super chat. Jason Goldstein, thanks for the great work. Very helpful. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. So those are my thoughts on mid-tier. So high-end, that's when things just go crazy. You're talking $250 and more. Realistically, you're talking $350 and more. The Yaesu FT3DR, $350. The Kenwood D74 is even more than that. I think it's over $400. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's over $400. That gets you wide-banded receive all the way down into the HF portions. So I've done videos on this radio where I connect a long wire antenna, an end-fed antenna, and I can receive HF ham radio conversations, HF band radio discussions with this radio. Can't transmit, but you can listen. So that's pretty good. That gives you a lot of capability, a lot of extra layers of communications. Going back to the stuff we did with Mike, I'm a big advocate of having a couple of different layers of how you receive data. If you have multiple capabilities of receiving HF data, shortwave, AM, those are all good things. Somebody asked in the chat, I might have missed, is there online testing yet? There is. Look in the description. There's a Google Doc. I think it's like one of the second links I posted. Please read the document thoroughly before you start going down the path, because there are some caveats. Hector Marchand bought the FT3 based on your video and love it. Cheers. Appreciate that. Wow, I'm almost done here. Matthew Harinko, greetings from Erie, Pennsylvania. Wondered if we can test for multiple classes concurrently using the virtual testing. Would like to test for tech in general. Yeah, you got to pass the tech, and then you can take the general, I believe. I hope. But that might be a good question. It might be answered in that document, and you can go from there. So go check that out. Okay, so we're talking HTs still, high-end HTs. A lot of them have added capabilities like APRS via the GPS dongle, right? So this has a GPS receiving antenna, plus it has a TNC, which is a terminal node controller, to basically take the information and send it out as an RF packet. So this is what allows you to give out your location, if you wanted to send text messages to either other radios that had APRS or phones, via SMS or emails, via different systems that can link with those radio systems that will do that. So that's pretty important. That's why I carry a high-end HT myself. Justin KI5BHV, $10, says the Kenwood THD74 is the best. That is definitely your opinion, and you're welcome to it. I've found that the D74 battery is not nearly as good, at least its battery life is not nearly as good as the FT3DR. Or the FT2DR for that matter. Rafael Pinto, the ID51A is a great radio for the range, or for this range. By the way, thanks for the HRCC. I decided to get my license 6 months ago. You give a great point, and let me go back. I do have the ID51A. There it is. It's covered up by the super chat notice. When it goes away, you'll see it. Right there's the ID51A. I also do, so this is, again, going back to what I was saying in the beginning, I have to pick one, but all the radios are good. If you live in a D-Star environment, get an ID51A. The ID51A is less expensive than both the FT3DR and the D74A, so keep that in mind. If that fits your price range, I would say go with that. Much improved screens out of all of them. The D74 is a fantastic screen. The FT3DR has a fantastic screen. The ID51A has a good screen. It's not color, but it's still good. I don't know. I have a D72, which is the predecessor to the D74 made by Kenwood. It is one of the last radios that was made by a Chinese manufacturer that does full duplex, which is like a phone. You can kind of talk, you can listen, you can hear what's coming in on one band while transmitting on the other. Not a lot of radios do that. It's really good for satellite work. D74 lost that capability, so I saw no reason to go to it. Also, it's kind of the form factor that I didn't like about the D72 is it's like a bar of soap. I don't know. I think that it's not as rugged as the FT3DR. The battery life is not as good as the FT3DR. But you gain the capability of connecting the D74 to a computer, and it works as a TNC directly through the computer, which is nice. Yeah, James Hannibal says the THD72, it could digipeat, and they took that out of the D74. I didn't know that. Wow, okay. Digipeating is the ability for, if this was a D72, receiving an APRS packet and then retransmitting it out. But at the same time, we're talking about 5 watts of power, so not going to be that effective. All right, moving on. Okay, I got a question about tactical comms and accessories. So I'm not going to give you so much the accessories because some of those are going to be, I'd have to go review them all, and I don't have a ton of background in reviewing that kind of stuff. But they're talking about like antennas that are body antennas that go through load-bearing harnesses and that kind of stuff. Generally, for tactical applications, you want to leave the radios kind of on the lower power side on transmit because you're going to be working closely with people that are within your range, unless you're really spread out, but you're going to know when you're doing that. Crossband repeat is a nice feature to have because you can be receiving on one and transmitting on the other. This is not exactly legal. This is like kind of bad times situation where you're not going to get in trouble for this kind of stuff. Battery trays are good. AA batteries are great for this kind of stuff because, again, you don't need a lot of power output. You're trying to stay local. Remote mics are cool. There is many remote mics will have a connector into the radio with a mic that would be on your shoulder, and then it has an output for like earbuds. Those are the mics I like. I recommend those. They also have like CIA kind of ones where it goes up to a clip point and then has a little plastic tube that goes in your ear. Those are good too. And then the double jack connector is generally preferred. Let me show you why. So the Yaesu has the one mic connector here, mic and speaker. That's okay. The better option is the dual pin, because it goes in and then it won't turn on you. So when you put it in a radio bag or something like that, it won't rotate, which is preferred. So that would be my recommendation. And then external 12-volt connection for recharging. Very important. Does this say? It doesn't say. I forget if this one takes 12-volt or not. I think it does. Anyway, the ability to 12-volt directly into the radio is what you want. And if you can't, you're going to have to step on it somehow to make it work. Sean Bales says, hate to make you go backwards, but do you have opinions about the Wouxun HTs? Oh, yeah, that's yes. So those are good radios, too. The KG UV8D Plus, full duplex radio, which is around $150. Yes. So let me go back. I'll just do it. So in that price range, $100 to $250, I'd still probably go with the Anytone. The full duplex is really only going to be desired by those who want to work FM satellites. That's where it's really going to come to shine, and that's going to be a narrower group of people that are going to want to do that. So keep that in mind. But if that's what you're into, yes, that is a good radio. All right, now we're talking mobiles. So this is your truck radios. This is your use it as a base station radio for VHF, UHF. Ham Radio TV, the FT4X, great cheap radio, just like my super chat. Appreciate that. All right, so here's a couple of easy ones. EMT and AZ, have you done videos on working satellites? I did a live stream on explaining how you do it. I have not done a proper, like, here is Josh operating some satellites. I've only actually been successful a couple of times doing it. It's not easy. It's actually a fairly intense, fast-paced ham radio kind of activity. It's not only tracking the satellite, but you also have to talk to the other party, right? And those contacts are going fast and furious. So, yeah. All right, so let's talk about mobiles. Mobiles, we'll just get into it. But again, broken it down into 3 groups. Real cheap, real inexpensive. There's a couple that exist in this place. Yeah, exactly. Simon Templar says, it's not easy unless you're Bob, K6UD8. Yeah, he just walked out of his house and, like, popped a satellite on his first go with an arrow antenna. Absolute maniac. Fantastic. So these are just the radios that I have used. I haven't owned all of these. I've used them. They're generally highly regarded. So breaking it down, inexpensive radios, mobile radios, are going to be like similar. Some are going to be similar to a Baofeng. They just have bigger cases so they can put out more power. You're going to get 20 to 50 watts in general with an inexpensive mobile. That's going to be consistent through the entire range of mobiles. 50 watts is the general output. Someone asked me, what is it? What beer are you drinking? Chocolate for breakfast is what this is called, or chocolate for dinner. It's, I don't know the brewery off the top of my head. David Hunter asks, any Japan US VHF mobiles with integrated broadcast FM receive? The bottom one, the QI, what is it, QIT, on this slide, I believe is. I think it is. So that's 25 watts for that lower one is what it's advertised at, but that fluctuates a bit. The reason why you're going into mobile land is because you want 25 or 50 watts output. That's why I recommend going to a mobile, so you get 50 watts versus the 5 watt output of an HT. HR Reflex says, yes, the bottom one does have FM receive. There you go. The problem with the inexpensives is that they're fairly no frills, right? The ICOM 2300, which is the one I kind of recommended, is nice and small. It is $175, and it's 2 meter only. So if you want dual band, then you'd have to go with the QYT 8900, which is much cheaper. The thing is really, really inexpensive, but it's like 20 watts output. Some people say they've gotten ones that are all the way up to 50 output. Yeah. Let's see. Monoband, my pick is the ICOM 2300. Okay, so mid tiers are where you get full 50 watts, dual channel, dual band. There's some quirky ones in the mix that I'll mention, and this is where you go from like $200 to $300. So mobiles are generally a bit more expensive. Apple Fritter, thank you for the super chat. I just saw that now. Most are dual band, pretty much all dual band. So you get 2 meters, 70 centimeter. Crossband repeat is a great feature that the mid tiers will have. For those of you that don't know what crossband repeat is, it's where you're transmitting on 1 frequency on 2 meter and you're receiving on 70 centimeter or vice versa. That allows you to basically have your VHF, UHF mobile radio turned on in your truck, have that set up for crossband repeat, transmit from your HT onto its crossband repeat frequency on 2 meters, and it will go out on 70 centimeters. So if you wanted to hit a repeater in your local area, you would turn on crossband repeat, you would transmit to your car on 2 meters, and then the car would transmit to the repeater on 70 centimeters. Let's say it was a difficult to hit repeater. You couldn't do it on an HT. Bet you can do it with 50 watts on a mobile. That's how people and why people use crossband repeat. The TYT 9800 is the crossband repeat mobile that I have. I use that. Have occasionally used it, but it's good. Limited models with digital though in this price range. The FTM 100 being the big one that does Yaesu system fusion. Good radio. Does Yaesu system fusion, probably the reason to check one out. Not a bad radio. And then they start to get like remote head units that pop off. In fact, can I hold this up? Is it connected? It's not connected. So I've got a head unit right here for the 2730. That is a nice feature. The reason why that's nice, and I'll mention it a little bit later, but if you're in something like a Jeep, Jeeps are notoriously cramped quarters, particularly up and under the dash. Having the ability to remote out the head and put the base of the unit somewhere else is very valuable. So crossband repeat, limited models with digital, remote head. Some are cool and quirky, like the Alinco DR135. It made the list because it's my packet radio, VHF packet radio. It only does VHF, but it has an interface for doing digital packet with it into a TNC, or it has its own internal TNC, which is a bit limited, but it's nice. So I broke it down into kind of my major recommendations. Analog only, ICOM 2730A, good radio. Yaesu FTM 100 if you wanted to do digital, and if you're doing packet, which is really tiny group, that would be the Alinco DR135. Zach, the 2730 does not. It's straight up analog. Just an analog, good sounding dual band radio. I should have turned... I'm doing a review of another radio right now, so I don't have it turned on, but that would have been nice for me to have that. So now high end. What do you get with the high end radios? Well, you're going to get a much better screen. You're going to get a fully remote head. In fact, most of them, the heads can't be connected to the body at all. That is the case with the two I'm showing right here. They have fantastic hand mics, or those are probably also shared with the inexpensive or the mid-tier model. And they're all digital pretty much at that point. So the 5100 by ICOM and the FTM 400 by Yaesu, top tier mobiles, those are the ones I like. I have the FTM 400 in my car. We have a whole lot of Wires X repeaters in and around my area, so that's why I go with that one. I find that the Yaesu FTM 400 is very simple to operate versus the 5100. Not to say that the 5100 is that much difficult. It's just kind of a different style, the way they're laid out. But that's my personal opinion. The menu systems, things that you like, don't like about radios, are generally more of a personal decision. So anywhere you can, it's better if you can go hands-on. If you got a friend who's got one, check it out before you buy. If you can, go to an HRO. That would be my recommendation. I know that that's not possible right now. Watch YouTube videos, right? You'll figure it out. Sui778 says the new Anytone mobile. That's the radio I'm testing right now, so I can't really comment on it. But so far, it sounds pretty good. So that would be an option too. In fact, I think I have it on the list. Yeah, it's this guy. This guy right here. Boop, boop, boop. Can you see that? You can't see that. My mouse is over it though, right there. Somebody give... They always have like such crazy numbering schemes though on some of these mobiles. I don't really have the Kenwood. That's the big one out of here that I haven't really worked. Plus, that's analog only, I believe. That does not do any digital. So, yeah. I should say too. Let me specify. Going back to what I started this whole thing off with. All these radios are good radios. With some exceptions, there are very few bad radios. I just haven't worked with it yet, so I have no frame of reference for that Kenwood. I didn't even really look at it because it doesn't do any kind of digital, which I find that why not have a digital mode if you can, particularly if you're paying that much money for a radio. So that would be my thoughts on that. Okay, needful things, just a couple of things to remind you when looking at mobiles. Kenwood is good. What did it say? Kenwood is a very good mobile radio. It just lacks digital if you want that. There you go. I don't disagree. I'm assuming it's a very good radio. Just because I didn't add it to my pick, it's because I could pick one or two. It's not it's bad. It's just I don't really have a frame of reference, and it doesn't it doesn't tick my boxes. But for you, it might. Remote heads are pretty much, for me, a requirement because I like to bury that thing somewhere under a seat or up underneath the dashboard. So being able to remote the head gives you a nice clean install. And even though the head unit's probably the most expensive part of the radio, it's probably a lot better that they just steal the head than the entire radio out of your car if that were to happen. The hand mics are super, super important. I have been finding that the ICOM mobile hand units, hand mics, these guys right here, boop, boop, is a nice hand mic. I really like this guy. So that's kind of a dumb thing, but don't forget it, right? Something to remember. And yeah, Rob, the patent guy, thoughts on the ICOM 4100A. That is on my list to go take a look at. I have not had to experience yet. I believe that's this guy. That's this guy right here. Looks right. It's small. It's got a small screen. I do want to take a look at them. I just seem to always like go from mid-tier all the way up to like most expensive. So, Rob the patent guy, thank you. And then pay attention to the screen. So the FTM 400 has arguably the best looking screen, I would say, out of the mobiles. But the reason why I've got the 5100 on here is that is a lot of information. You get a lot of information on that screen. I like that it's two-toned, just two-toned. So it'll look good in daylight, it'll look good at night, and it's huge. As far as screens go, that's like the biggest screen you can get in a mobile. So that's my thoughts. All right. This is where stuff starts to fly off the tracks, and we're like 10 minutes before we end the normal time. So we're going to be going for a little while. Buckle up. All right. HF radio. I'm going to do my best at this. We're staying at a high level. If you want to watch any of my videos that I've done, the $1,000 ham shack, putting together a shack for $1,000, still pretty much viable. The soda videos where I've talked about gear that I would take for doing soda, QRP discussions, talks about the 7300 in particular. I have so many videos on that. So before we go down this road, just know if I don't hit your favorite radio to a deep degree, it's not because I don't dislike it or whatever. It's just because for sake of time and my sanity, there's only so much things I can talk about on any one of these things. So I really just focused on the big ones. So here we go with the first controversial statement. Inexpensive base stations, which I'm claiming is under $700. So generally, they lack antenna tuners. Generally, I know there's an exception, the 450. Limited screen information, which I'm using the 718 to kind of give you the example of that. Lacking audio interface and control. What I mean is to a computer. So connecting a computer to a radio, and having the computer control the radio is generally pretty limited in the inexpensive entry-level HF radios. Dennis Dunderdale, been a while since I could make a live stream. Thanks for all you do. Hey, thanks, man. I'm glad you can make it out. So audio interfaces, not really there. Generally limited feature set, meaning it's a HF radio. It has some filtering. It can do most of the HF bands. Some of them are hit or miss when you get to 6 meters. A lot of them are just 10 meters and down from there, which, you know, pay attention to that when you think about what you want. Some have DSP, but it's pretty lacking. The 450's DSP is kind of meh. Dom is saying the 718 filters are sort of lackluster compared to the 450. I can understand that, but I have a different opinion on why I went with this. Limited filtering options, true, as it was already mentioned, and they're generally discrete component designs, meaning they're not software-defined radios, which we'll talk about as we start to get a little bit deeper. Okay, so my pick for that is, I said the 718. The reason for that is I have found that after recommending people that are looking to get into HF radio, they all seem to go towards the 450 and then come back and say, hey, I'm trying to put up a long wire. Hey, I have a G5RV. Hey, I want multi-band antennas. And they can't tune them with the internal tuners in the Yaesu, so they end up going out and buying an external tuner to get up to higher than 10-to-1 SWR. So for my money, I'd rather save on the base station, get something that's a nice small package, not have to worry about an internal tuner that would make it bigger, get an external tuner if you needed that, otherwise use resonant antennas. So you're going to get a generally cheaper radio. Plus, I like the aesthetics of the IC718. The speakers out the front facing you, I think is kind of cool. Not many radios do that anymore. But that's my opinion. That's why I said it. So I knew it would be a little controversial. I know the 450 is kind of a well-liked radio. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying I've seen a ton of people that throw down money and then they've got to go back and they've got to get an external tuner. So why forget your life? Why do people keep buying the G5RV? It's not resonant anywhere. And there's a ton of antennas that aren't resonant anywhere, but they seem to work okay. It works. It works, but it's not like effective. It's a compromise. But most antennas are compromised. I'm sure most people don't have their dipoles high enough in the air to get the proper pattern that they're looking for that dipole. So, all right. Okay, mid-tier mobiles. So I broke this up into mobiles because they're not really base stations. They have some things that detract from them, some things that give them massive bonuses, and they're quirky enough that you can't really pick one. So we got two winners for the mid-tier mobile base station radios. Sub $900 is kind of what I set the thing to. Remote head units, I think, are required to be a mobile or mobile specifically radio. Borderline painful menus. Both of them have this. No tuners to speak of because, again, that's how they save space. The main bodies can be big. I'm thinking specifically of the Kenwood, which is a fantastic radio with, I think, a nice interface. A little big, though. Kind of an older style, too. Surprisingly good digital signal processing. In particular, the 891. The Yaesu FT891 has a very good digital signal processor in it. I have had fantastic luck driving down the highway 75 miles an hour and just being able to pull people out and talk to them. Virginia, where was I talking to? Canada. I think my Calgary contact, no, that was QRP to Calgary. But tons of instances were just on my 891 and my screwdriver ATOS antenna. Really good contacts. I was talking to Florida, Matt, on this last week. Lots of people on this really nice 891. Nice when you just use it. If you got to go deep into the menus, bring your manual. That's all I'll say. 7100. The advantage of the 7100, it's larger, but it's all band. So those of you that ask me, which we will talk about later, I have a question coming up on that. When you ask me, like, I want the best all things of all time radio, what should I get? All bands, all modes. The 7100 fits into that realm. this would be probably the only one that I would recommend you look at if you're looking at kind of an all-bander. 991 advocates, I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about like a portable. And as much as you can say the 7100 is portable, which it's kind of not. So I give the nod for mobile, portable base stations. Actually, just mobile. We'll talk about portable in a second. 891 and the 7100. So there you go. And this is like 100 watt mobile stations is what we're talking about. Sub $900. I can't think of an over $900 mobile station aside from the 200 watt Kenwood. So, okay, portable HF stations, $400 to $1,200 range, because these radios are all over the board. They go even lower than that if we're talking about like QRP prices. So there's a ton of like pretty full-featured QRP radios that do single sideband that you can get that are well under $500. So those are great. Fantastic. What is small? Small is small. It's small. It's small. It's a joke. It's just a meme. Generally QRP for the portable HF stations. The only like Venn diagram crossover here is that the FT891 is 100 watts, and you certainly can make it portable. You can snap the head on it. I know that's what Mike uses. Lots of people use the 891 portably. I used it before I threw it into my car. I would go back to using it if I wasn't using it in my car, which it gets more use that way. So you can absolutely port the 891, but I wanted to be a little bit more specific. I already gave it the nod for the portable. I'm sorry, the mobile. Portable to me, though, I'm talking kind of soda portable, so I want something light. The 891 is not light. It's big. It's kind of bulky. You have to bring an external battery with it. You sometimes have to bring an external tuner if you don't have a resonant antenna or an antenna you can make resonant. So that's just me. You may disagree, and that's okay. Does Mike have two? 891. Oh, Mike is the true 891 fan. He's got a portable 891 that he uses for his POTA activations, and also in his car he has one. I can see it. I'm not going to go down this road. I'm not going to do it. I do want a 100 watt portable radio, but I don't want to get another 891. Ton of Coal says, how do you join the giveaway? The link is in the description for the video. That's the best way to get it. Okay. So most have tuners that are in the portable, QRP portable range. Very wide fluctuation on price. The X5105, the G90, the Elecrafts, all of them, the KX3, KX2. Great tuners. So my pick is the Elecraft KX2 is my favorite. It's very expensive. The X5105, so many features, even features that kind of go above and beyond that of the KX2. Very, very nice radio. You can get those at MFJ. And the ICOM 705, which is not out yet, I'm very optimistic about that. L1 Mechanics TC asks a very good question. Where does the XG90 fall in that group? It falls somewhere in the middle. The Xiegu G90 is a 20 watt output portable and mobile radio. It is more portable than the 891, less power output. I would say if you wanted to get a radio to start out with HF, the G90 is a fine place to go. I have had my quirks with it, primarily with digital modes, interfacing it with the computer, powering it. There's been multiple people who had melted connectors when powering it. That may be because it wasn't fused, the connector to the battery. I would bet that was probably the case. Not a bad radio at all. And if you want my opinions, I did a review of the G90. All my opinions are the same on the G90. I think it's good. It's definitely not better than a KX2. It's not more portable than the X5105. So for that, it's kind of hard for me to give it the portable nod, and it's definitely hard for me to give it the mobile nod because it's not really a mobile radio, although you can remote it. You can take the head unit off on it. So that's my opinion. Okay. Mid-tier, I don't think there's anybody who's going to... Nobody's going to be surprised by my vote on this one. But for mid-tier base stations, you're going to get... That's where software-defined starts to pop up. Software-defined radios, SDR radios. There's a USB sound connector on a lot of these for computer control, for sound control, one cable. The 7100 kind of falls into this realm. That's why it's kind of hard to pull it out of the bunch. But if you're talking about a base station, a mid-tier base station, 7300. Nobody is surprised. Nobody's surprised by that. Most YouTube's... Yeah, Garrett Peterson, 7300. Most YouTube support for newbies. Yeah, I would say so. It does have, so most of them have internal tuners, although you've kind of already got my opinion of internal tuners. Better filters and improved DSP than the lower tiers, obviously. The passband capability, the passband filtering on the top there of the 7300, I was using it just recently when we did our HRCC net, which was last night, trying to make a contact with Connor in Virginia and Matt in Florida. There was a really strong, super adjacent station, and he was splattering all over the place, meaning his outputted power was going wider than where he wanted it. So we used the passband capability to kind of narrow down where I was listening on the radio so I could pick out what I was listening to. So my pick, I don't think anybody's surprised by that, is the 7300. Also, I kind of did a little sneaky. $1,200 is kind of what the 991 goes for. So if you are a fan of the Yaesu world of HF, that's fine. It's a good radio. I would put it here as well. I just have more use of my 7300. The advantage of the 991, I will straight up say the 991 has all band. It does Yaesu System Fusion on HF, all mode. There's lots of reasons for the FT991. It's just not on my list. It may be on the top of your list, and that's okay. The other thing about the 991 is it's more expensive. So it's somewhere in there. You can get a 7300 for close to $800 now, which is fantastic. All right. So high-end radios. High-end radios are something I can't really make a solid statement on because I don't have a high-end radio. I don't really work on high-end radios. So I will say a caveat of high-end radios are extremely personal picks. You are going to be dropping a fat load of cash in the case of $4,000 to $10,000 for some of these things. So take your time, pick what you want. Flex radio jumps to mind. I didn't have it on this list, but definitely Flex radio. I didn't even think about putting it out there because I haven't really worked with Flex. Sorry, Flex, but I only saw you briefly at Dayton. Jason, Ham Radio 2.0, has a lot of Flex videos. If you're interested in a Flex, go check them out. Take your time with the high-end stuff. But generally, with high-end, you're going to get a lot more SDRs out in the world now. They have... The reason why you go to a high-end radio is if you want really good kind of cancellation of adjacent signals. That would have helped me if I had a better radio when I was trying to get down to Virginia and Florida with the HRCC net. If I had that capability of a more expensive radio, I might have been able to kind of not hear that big station and just focus on where I wanted it. Plus, some of them have crazy features like the FT, what is it, the FT101DX or something, or MP. That has a pre-selector, which is effectively like a physical filter that you can put right on the edge of where you want to receive. You can notch that whole thing out, which is really nice. It's like an upper notch. So those are fantastic. Much better filtering, like a boatload more filtering, many more options of filtering, and that's what you're paying for. Garden State Hockey, thank you for your Instagram help the other day, 7300 and 9700, the first with a portable super antenna and the second a copper Slim Jim for VHF and Learn ICOM. Thanks for answering my questions and talking out the HTs. No problem, Garden State Hockey. Lee Harrell, just for mentioning my beloved Yaesu 991. Yeah, again, I got no hate. I think all the radios are good. I think some things are just going to be a little bit better for some people. I don't think there is a radio that's the best for everybody, which is great. We want that. We want this variety. Kevin Adams says, budget not being an issue. The Yaesu FTX 101MP, yeah, and FTX 101D. I don't want to have buyer's remorse for not getting the 2000 watt version. By the way, this will be my first HF rig. So Kevin brings up a question that I have gotten a lot recently. People are bringing out buku dollars, dropping fat stacks because they don't want to have to buy again. I don't know what to tell you about that. I have a question that's coming up in a little bit. To be fair, I don't know that anyone can say, I'm buying this radio and I'm never going to buy again. I'm sure there are people who've done that, and it's possible. It just seems like my growth in understanding radio has evolved with the radios that I've used and operated. I just don't know that you could just buy the most expensive thing and, one, have it be able to help you where you're at right now, and also kind of be there in the future when you're ready for something else. I don't know. That's kind of my thought. So that's the thing, is you're going to buy a really high-end radio now, coming straight into it, coming in hot. You're not going to be able to use it the way it's designed to be used out of the box because you just haven't experienced HF enough yet. Or there's features that you might not tap into for a while. And then all of a sudden, you're 4 years down the line and you're starting to get into it. And then you're like, well, there's a brand new radio that's less than what I paid for this radio, and it does everything and more. So I'm not, if it's way beyond like your talent, your capability of use, you may not want to drop the fat stack. You might want to find a used radio or think about an 891. Buy $1,000. That's why I made that video, the $1,000 ham shack. Put something like that together, get started with it, and then see as your hobby or interests change. Because straight up, like, you could go buy this Yaesu. This thing's like, it's a suitcase, right? You slap this down on the desk. I'm never going to have to buy a radio again. Well, that's assuming you want to go into contesting. You may not want to go into contesting. You may want to go activate parks. I don't think Mike is dragging out one of these things to a park. I'm sure he would to do for the lulz. But 7300, fantastic. 891, fantastic. You may not need to go to that level. Contesters might need to go to that level. Someone who wants to dabble in DX may have to go to that level. So I'd rather you dabble, spend some time learning radio first, and then start branching out from there. That's my opinion. Yeah. Okay. All right, needful things. Most internal tuners top out at 3-to-1 SWR. I've been getting this question a lot. So if you want to do a random wire with a 9-to-1 un, you cannot do it with an internal. If you have a G5RV, if you have any high SWR antennas, it will not work with your 3-to-1 internal tuner. You need something that is capable of at least 10-to-1 SWR. So that's important to know as you go down the road of not just picking your radio, but the antennas that go along with it. All right. You will likely, so going back to budget, you go, okay, I got myself this, I'm going to pick on the 991 again, I'm sorry. I got this 991. Okay, it's $1,200. What else do I need? Well, I need a power supply. I need feed line. I need an antenna. I need maybe a tuner, but you go, let's say you go with the resonant antenna. You're now close to $1,500, possibly $2,000. 7,300, $800. Throw on a power supply, throw on a tuner if you need it, feed line. You're still under $1,500, right? So just talking budget, just remember you're going to have to pay for this stuff. Good headset, right? Over the can ears, over the can recommended, right on top. Those are good to have. And a headset, good mics are great. It's a great upgrade to your radio. A lot of radios come with a hand mic that are okay, but if you can take the jump to get yourself a nice microphone situation, you will make more contacts. People will be able to hear you better. People will be able to pick you out better. So a good mic is what I would recommend. And then foot pedal to go along with that mic. Hit the foot pedal. You'll be able to turn on the radio to transmit. You talk into your microphone. let go of the foot pedal, it turns off the PTT. That leaves your hands free to work the radio or to work your computer, log the contact, what have you. Good stuff. Randy Vaughn says anything over $1,000 seems to be called in the high end. I don't agree. I don't agree because, again, I'm not picking on the 991. The 991 is $1,200. It is more on the entry-level side of HF. 7300 started out at $1,200. It is an entry-level HF radio. ICOM refers it to as an entry-level radio. But, right, why wouldn't they, right? They want you to buy them. But you know what I mean. 4K is high-end. Yeah, I would say the FTX 101 and that whole family of radios is where the high-end starts. The ICOM 7610, right, or 3600, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember off the top of my head now. I'm doing too much thinking. That's like $2,600. That's right there at the higher end. But people watching this, someone who watches this that are like heavy-duty contesters, they're going to say 4K. That's not high-end. When they've got a $14,000 antenna system. Just one tower, right? $14,000 kind of stuff. K8MRD, thank you for the 5.56. Appreciate that. All right. What time are we at? 10 minutes over. General coverage receivers. I'm going to go through these really quickly because it's not technically ham radio, but a lot of people were asking me about, they're here right now. They are at Baofeng land, and they want to understand how HF works, and they want to walk themselves in from the shallow end of the pool into the deep end. What would I recommend you do to learn HF? General coverage receivers. So here's my breakdown. Cheap, more expensive, and then kind of crazy. It can get crazy expensive. So inexpensive receivers, less than $50. Get yourself a Nuelec SDR dongle. The link is in the description for Amazon on that. That will get you VHF, UHF, and high frequency stuff. If you want to dabble in HF, you need something called a down converter, which I think I have linked, but you can search for SDR down converter on Amazon. It's fine. The other radios like the Redivis. I did a Redivis. What is it? An RT, doesn't matter. Link is in the Amazon. You can see it, but you know what I'm talking about. That little Redivis $21 radio. Sounds really good on AM. And is it down converter or up converter? I thought it was down converter. It doesn't matter. You get the idea. Up converter. So they sound really good on AM, FM commercial, but then if you flip them over to shortwave, they don't do that hot. So the shortwave capabilities, which is where you want to be, that is a bit off for the little, radio, actual handheld radios. So Thomas Harrington says RTL SDR. I went with the Nuelec. It does the same thing. The difference is those guys don't take up fat real estate on your USB ports. So if you're using a Raspberry Pi, for instance, the RTL SDR dongle is way too wide. It gets in the way of everything, and you've got to add extension cables and stuff like that. Forget that. The Nuelec is the same price. Go with the Nuelecs. Okay, mid-tier, which I would call $150 and less. So you get a big improvement in receive capability on HF. Size begins to give you better results. For instance, that Texan 660, bigger radio than the, what's the other one? The GP5 made by CountyCom. Bigger radio, much bigger shortwave reception, much better shortwave reception, much better single sideband reception than the GP5. Lee Harrell says, forgive me if you have, but could you do a video on mics and headsets? I don't have one of those right now. You might have to go with somebody else. You have to find somebody else to help you out. I have found, though, that it doesn't need to be a ham radio video. It can just be any mic video on reviews for mics, reviews on headsets, musicians, people who are in the professional space of broadcasting. Will all do you well. You just need to get that into your radio and make sure you're matching it to the right power if it's using phantom power or whatever. Mixer boards, good idea to have. Michael Perea, setup for Hawaii for SHTF prep newbie. Send me a message. That is probably more specific I'd have to get into. Not going to do that today. Can't do that right now. Portable versus desk radios start to become the performance bottleneck. So the GP5, like I mentioned, not very good performer on shortwave or single sideband, but the PL660, which is my pick for $100 basically, this radio, really, really good performer on shortwave. And then I would say if you are interested in this, if you're thinking about getting more serious into HF, look to getting the SDR Play RSP1A. You will be served very well by having that radio. Okay, high-end base stations, really good receivers get very, very pricey. The SDR Plays alone go up to like $300. There are multiple shortwave receivers that go up to $300. So my big thing is this is also a kind of a crapshoot. They get very expensive at this point. If you are interested in shortwave receiving, I would say at most we go to PL660. If you want something that is ultra portable, go with the C-Crane Skywave single sideband, which technically should be in this slide. So I would say, nope, we're going to change it live. There we go. We changed the future. Okay. I feel better now. Okay, questions. So these are questions that I have pooled earlier before, and we'll take call-ins, hopefully given enough time. So questions that have been asked by, to us at the Ham Radio Crash Course Discord and the Facebook page, my Instagram, Twitter, email, you name it. Well, first one. Steve K5ATA asks, what radio should I get if I am the first ham in my town in order to communicate with people in the capital about 40 miles away? There's a lot of lacking context here. I would just assume they're talking VHF, UHF, meaning that's what they use for radio. I don't think we're talking HF. So you're at least going to need a 50-watt mobile radio, likely an antenna that's high enough up that you can actually get that 40 miles to the town, possibly a Yagi, which is a directional antenna. Okay, so I get this question all the time. I want the best all-in-one ham radio. What should I buy? Well, hopefully I demystified that a bit. Here, there is no one best ham radio. Even if you find a good radio that covers most of your bases, there will be instances where you find you're not going to be effective operating in other places, right? So we just said parks on the air. You're probably not going to take your Yaesu 991 out to do parks on the air, although I know people that can. You're not going to hike with that radio. You're not going to do a soda activation with that radio. You get where I'm going with this. I feel like I was banging like hard on the 991. I don't even dislike it. I just, things like its screen, I don't love that, but it's a good radio. Not hating. All right. DB Mead on the Discord asks, when looking to buy a new radio, where should I look for reviews on said radio? How do I know which reviewers' websites can be trusted? You'd look at a lot of reviews, and if you get semi-consistent answers, then that's probably going to be accurate. I would say YouTube. Clubs, friends, Facebook, Discord, Ham Radio Crash Course, all those things. Go check that out. Sometimes eHam and QRZ. I have found that eHam is more consistent than QRZ is. They're not bad, but that's a whole lot of places to get started. I would listen and read and look at a lot of reviews. There's a lot of blogs that I didn't mention that should be mentioned. You can check those out if you'd like. Question, PCJ Fro. Budget equipment for soda. You can do soda now if you have your technician. A good HT, foldable J-pole, and call out on 146.520. That's going to be your starting place. You may have a hard time with it. You may not make activations initially. That's possible. However, if you want to go into HF, the Shegu X5105 is probably a good starting spot for soda. And couple that with like a linked dipole from Soda Beams. That way it's nice and resonant with a carbon fiber fishing rod. You'll do well with that. If you must, the 817 is fine. Get a used one. I would not buy a new 818. All right. OTTO. For a person who has a dual channel 2-meter, 70 centimeter HT and just passed technician and general, what would be a good next radio to get to start trying HF contacts? So this is going to be based off of money they want to throw at this. This is going to be about, because they said make contacts. If they just wanted to learn how HF works, I would get a nice receiver, right? A dongle of some kind. Otherwise, it depends on your budget. Hopefully the previous slides will help. Think about what your budget is. Think about what you mean by contacts. Are we talking POTA? Do we need a portable radio? Do we need a mobile radio? What do we need? Base station radio? That kind of stuff. Elise or Ellis 33, what radio is the next step up from a UV5R? Something like that for the noobs with a UV5R who want something better. So I said just the FT60 or the FT70, the ICOM IC V86 if you're going a little cheaper, the ID31A, and then that gets you into the middle tier. If you wanted to drop some stacks, the Yaesu FT3DX. Wait, DX? Yeah, FT3D. That would be my recommendation. Padden or Payden, what DMR radio should I buy and or best features to look for? This is another question that comes up a lot. What DMR radio should you buy, and then what are the best features for DMR? DMR, to remember, DMR is kind of a co-opted commercial system. So there isn't a ton of features, ham features, that have been kind of cobbled onto the side of DMR. It is DMR. It is a digital encoded audio signal that you can receive and transmit back and forth. That's kind of what it does. So it doesn't really matter how much money well, it does matter in a second. Hold on. As long as it does DMR okay, it doesn't matter how much money you spend. How much money you spend is going to give you an easier time in manipulating the radio, programming the radio, using the radio. So what DMR should you buy? A Anytone 878. Ballistics Z-Man. I just bought a UV5R, but I really, really wanted to buy an FT3DR. I know nothing about ham besides what I've learned from your videos. Thanks. I wanted to get the Yaesu because it seemed like a good investment for me and probably the last radio I'll ever need to buy. I'm working towards getting my tech and plan on using ham for trail runs, 4x4, and emergency situations. Did I make the right call in getting the UV5R, or should I have just gone all in with the FT3DR? No. So the answer is no, unless you have money to throw at it and you want the FT3DR and you plan on doing APRS right out of the gate. So no, you didn't waste money. At the same time, you didn't spend that much money to begin with. Less than $30 for a UV5R. So it's not a big deal. If you decide later, then you want to get the FT3, great. Leave your Baofeng programmed, keep it charged. You got a backup radio in case something bad happens. Colorful Moose. Question for the stream or in general. Are there any extra considerations for a new ham in a city environment, New York in my case? For example, will certain modes, bands, equipment be affected by things like the fact that there are so many tall buildings, etc.? Yeah, New York is ruined, man. We've been working with somebody on the Discord side trying to get them better comms to their dorm that they're staying in through the whole coronavirus. Oh, I said it. Malware virus, human malware virus. So you're generally probably going to have to use UHF. VHF is probably going to be pretty bad. You're going to be affected by the tall buildings. You're going to be affected by a lot of things. So keep that in mind. Yeah. There's just too many. There's too many things, too many variables. Sadly. I wish I could give you better than that. Try UHF. Is it Dragon Breath or Dagon Breath? Maybe. I was wondering if there is a good alternative out there for the FT818. because the overall coverage of HF, VHF, and UHF is quite appealing, but $700 is a freaking lot. Hence, I'm a beginner since gotta do the E-Class license. I would be fine with a dumb radio. Greetings from Germany, and his name is, I don't know how to pronounce it. I wanted to leave it in there because I thought it was cool, but Tassilo? Anyway. So a good a good competitor radio of the FT18 is the FT817. Get a used one. Go nuts. Otherwise, get a Xiegu G90, I'm sorry, X5105 and an HT. And that was what I actually replied to him with is I like having APRS when I do SOTA or portable, right? FT891 for SOTA. Sorry, FT3DR for SOTA, portable APRS. And I don't like using VHF, UHF, HF all-in-one radios, particularly the F18 and the F17. I'm not a big fan. Okay. New, this is a good one, from Celtech. New, FT450D versus FT891 versus Xiegu G90 versus U-Bit X version 6 if you can't afford a 7300. I totally think you should save your money and get a 7300. With that said, as we've covered already, the G90 is going to be better portable. The 891 is going to be better portable. The G90 is cheaper. The U-Bit is cheaper than all of them. Plus, if you like to get frustrated, the U-Bit X is a good way to go. The FT450 is a base station radio. You're not really going to drag that out in the field. So there's just so many things that there's just, it depends on what your desire is, what you want to do. All right, Gizmo Jeff. I don't have an Elmer or a friend with an HF radio nearby. What can I do? So he's kind of answering his own question, which I thought was nice and deserves a good recommendation. So thank you, Gizmo Jeff. You can always go to websdr.com and use a whole bunch of radios in different parts of the world with different antenna types. Everybody should do this, websdr.com. Go check that out. It's really, really nice. And actually, we use it a lot to see if we're making if our frequency, if our power is getting out there. We'll load up an SDR somewhere on the other side of the country, call out on HF, and see if we can hear yourself over the internet. That's very helpful for that. It's not really a question per se, but those SDRs really helped me get a handle on HF, and having the waterfall to tune in and compare a signal on one coast to a signal on the other coast, and to play around with bandwidth and filters and so on was a huge help. So I agree completely. All right. Pete, question for tonight. What is a good antenna I can install in my attic for HF bands? I believe I linked to my attics and HOA antennas live stream. I think I put it in the description. So check that out. But loops, dipoles, anything you can cram up there, that's good. All right. It's time for the call-ins. I am going to fill up my beverage while you call in. Stay on the line. I'll be right back. Oh, maybe I'll turn the music on. There you go. All right. I don't know if we're going to have call-ins, but that's okay. We're already gone like an hour and a half. If we don't get call-ins, that's okay. Let's see. Oh, it's not working. Hold on. How is it working? That's oh, wow, it still is working. That's fantastic. Okay, it's working. Loyal, what's up, buddy?
Hey, nothing much. Want to give an update on the remote testing that we released in your description today.
Fantastic.
So far, we've had 40 signups. We only have 2 more spots yet available for people to sign up at this point.
Quantity is going fast, guys. How can we handle all this?
2 minutes ago, it was 39.
What's that?
We're just sitting in the voice chat watching people come in live at this point.
So there you go, guys. If you want to get your online testing done, Take the link in the description and follow the instructions to the letter, please. Was that all you had, Loyal?
Basically, just get a computer over webcam. Make sure you're U.S. citizen with U.S. mailing address.
Cool.
Make sure that you get at least 100% on a few practice tests on a ham study. That's how we're judging what
Entry notice off.
Okay.
we have access to that ham study system. And then the $5 was over date and time. Pay the $5 fee, and you join a Zoom meeting.
There you go. Right on, man. Thanks for the update.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you. I'll catch you on the live stream after, or the after chat.
Okay, see ya.
Yeah. All right. Zach is one of our admin extraordinaires. Okay. So, first time caller. What's your name?
John?
John. You got a call sign?
I just got one, yes. KD2TTK. I was at that Warren County, the orange car on the end.
Cool.
You showed it in the first part of the video.
Right on. Fantastic. Okay. Well, thanks for calling. What's going on?
So I just got in. I'm doing the whole Bofang thing. Just got my technician's license with the Warren County guys. I'm a pretty much Mac and iOS guy, and as I'm absorbing YouTube videos, am I going to have to buy a PC?
What do you want to do?
Don't know yet. I see a lot of people pushing towards that Raspberry Pi. Can I get away with just that, or all the apps like Chirp? I know Chirp is available on Mac, but like I just see people using a lot of other apps, and it looks like I'm gonna have to get a PC.
Well, there's
I'm hoping
not there's not much you can do with the Baofeng that requires a computer, other than
Right.
program it.
Well, I plan on winning that 7300.
Oh, okay. Well, then yeah. No, you don't need a PC to work the 7300. WSJTX, most of the digital modes, they all work on Mac. Are you still there?
So as yes, I am. So basically pursuing the hobby in any way, like I'm not really going to be hindered by Mac.
There are some instances where you will be hindered. The logging applications are generally Windows based, and you probably will want to get a proper logger eventually that will port easily to other systems, online logs, etc. There are other examples of Windows only applications that are a little more on the quirky side. It's going to depend on kind of where you go. But you can do some of it with the Raspberry Pi, although remember, Raspberry Pis are limited in performance. Your Mac is going to be a whole lot faster than a Raspberry Pi in most cases. But you should be able to get through most of it. You should be okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. Right on. All right, John, thanks for calling in.
Thank you. All right, have a good one.
See ya. Mike K8MRD Radio Stuff is saying rumlog ng, which is what I used when I was using the Mac. I liked it. He says he has troubles with it. So, that's my opinion. Cletus Cassidy says, please consider doing an FT3D programming tutorial using ADMS11 software. Could be very helpful for us newer, inexperienced hams. Thanks, Josh. That's from Cletus again. Thank you very much for the super chat. All right, so many callers. Let's take another one. Hey, new caller. What's your name?
Chris.
Chris, you got a last name?
W3UWO.
W3WO?
W3 Uniform Whiskey Oscar.
Got it. Uniform Whiskey Oscar. Okay, Chris, how you doing? The floor is yours. Go for it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm an old ham.
Well, that's no problem. You're welcome.
I think you've convinced me on the ICOM 718.
718. Okay. That's, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
go with resonant antenna if you can get one up. That's the way I would recommend it. But if you needed to go down the road of getting a tuner, you can just get one of those as well.
Yeah, I have a tuner.
Oh, okay.
And most of my antennas are end-fed long wires, so they're not good antennas. And like you said, the built-in tuners don't seem to work that great. So I think the ICOM 718 is all I need. And I'm old school. I don't do contesting. I just gibber.
It should be fine then. If you're just going to be rag chewing and you get that wire up high enough, you should be fine.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Love your videos.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you calling in. It means a lot. Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye. All right, thanks, Chris. Big thank you to Douglas Fellows. Appreciate the super chat with the guy on a rocket who then blows himself up. the jihad super chat stamp. All right, first time caller. What's your name? Are you there?
Hello.
Hey, you're on. What's your name?
Kilo Delta 7 Whiskey Hotel.
Kilo Delta 7. What was it?
Whiskey Hotel.
Got it. Thank you.
I've been recommending your crash course videos quite a bit. I'm glad to hear you start talking about antennas, because I think that's probably as important or more important than the radio you're using.
I think you're right, generally.
I'm just starting to get into digital modes and IRLP.
Okay.
And I'd like to... There's not a lot of information out there on it. It's all out there, but nobody knows about it.
Right.
So I'd like to see you do a video on that, because that's actually what got me into ham.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a friend of mine talking on IRLP to a guy in Scotland.
Oh, cool.
And that got me. That hooked me.
Okay.
And, so you're doing a great job. Love your work. Keep it up.
I'm taking a note of that right now. So IRLP. I have a couple of repeaters in the area that I know the owners for, so I could probably reach out to them and do some work with that. So yeah, fun. I appreciate the recommendation. So thank you for recommending the videos, by the way. That's super awesome. That's the best way to support the channel you can. Thank you very much. I hope they found it helpful, or I hope it gave them inspiration to get started.
So far, they've been very encouraging. The feedback I've heard has been very encouraging.
That's awesome.
So, and one has right before all this craziness happened, went and got his license, and so you can mark one up there. One you got for sure.
Great. That's excellent. I'm glad it's working. Right, thank you very much for calling in.
It's working. It's working.
All right.
Out here.
Take it easy. We have a seriously huge amount of callers, but don't worry, I'll get through them all. So hang on. Hey, first time caller, what's your name?
Okay, so I guess it's me because I heard line unmuted.
That's you.
This is Tom AF7J out here in Oregon. I'm a truck driver and saw you guys on YouTube and on my phone. So now I was trying to get the tablet going, but I'm not able to get the tablet going. But yeah, I was the one. I've been experimenting using the Yaesu FT897 and using it as a pan adapter, and have like the RTL SDR dongle and the new elect ham it up converter. But for some reason, I didn't hear you mention about the programs, because once you get the hardware, then you still have between the choices of, I guess, SDR Sharp, HD SDR, and there might be some other software that works with these modified USB receivers.
Yeah, that would take me forever. We're gonna hit 2 hours easy on this stream.
Which ones are the simplest ones to use? I mean, it looks like SDR Sharp seems fairly simple.
SDR Sharp is probably the simple one. What's the other one? HD, SDR, HD something. Yeah. There's a link. I'll actually pull it up right now while we're talking. I am a big fan of just using the SDR Play software, SDR Uno, but I appreciate a lot of people don't have that. So keep talking here. Let me pull this up.
Well, what ham radio stands for, having any money.
Yeah,
and
right.
So most of us, try to do everything as low cost as we can. We don't
had a lot of money.
Don't have a lot of money. We're not retired. Most of us aren't retired.
I know I'm not.
To the hobby, and
so where is
we
it?
don't have that big nest egg.
That's right. So where is the big? Okay, here we go. So rtlsdr.com. makers of a receiver. Not the one I recommend, but still a good one. SDR, what is that? SDR Sharp? Yeah, SDR Sharp is on there. HD SDR, which is it's a funky Star Trek-y looking interface. I've played around with that one. SDR radio. Where's the one I used for Mac? GQRX is what I've used for the Mac. I found that easy to use. That's also on Linux. That's good for, we were talking about Mac earlier, not you and I, but on the chat. There's a ton. So if you go to if you search for SDR free software, you'll get this on Google. And there's just a ton of different apps that'll come up. So there you go.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad that you're able to keep us entertained while we're in quarantine. At least some of us are. I'm driving truck. I'm just on a break until Monday, and then I got to pick up a load and get back to moving. So
right on. Well, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it, Tom. See ya.
Bye.
All right. Got another first-time caller here. Hi, first-time caller. What's your name?
Jim in Old Bridge, KD2 GUZ.
GUZ. All right. How's it going, Jim?
All right, Josh. I have an idea for like some kind of filtering process for some radios. Would it be cool if you took the adjacent QRM station and tuned it in, and then just inverted it and then inserted it into the channel that you're actually listening to like cancel it out totally? Wouldn't that be a cool idea or what?
I mean, it'd be a cool idea, but are you trying to pick out some other station?
No, let's say you're adjacent, you have QRM right next to you, and you have a lot of splatter from them.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be an idea that you could actually tune in that QRM station and invert it and then insert it into your channel that you're listening to right next to it?
I mean, the problem with that is you're still imparting information along the RF chain, so you're kind of like blocking out that space. So you're almost better off just like cutting it away, like just notching it out, if you will. You know what I mean? Because you're not actually canceling. You are canceling that what's in that space, but you're also canceling everything else that's in that space, or highly distorting it to the point that it's non-recoverable.
Right. Well, I thought it was an idea anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you know,
don't.
The spot level is low now, but back in the '80s when you were listening to ham radio, it was like every channel was like being splashed by everybody. Like you just couldn't get around it, and it was really, filtering, was only mediocre at that time. But I know it's a lot better now. But I thought it was an idea that might be maybe somebody might want to investigate into.
Well, don't let me poo-poo the idea. Go try it and tell us. Maybe you'll come up with an amazing product that you can create and bring it to market.
That's cool. Thanks, Josh.
All right.
Great videos. I love listening to you on live.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
All
See ya. All right. Thanks for calling in. First-time caller. What's your name?
Yeah, this is Matthew. Kilo Echo 8, Kilo Alpha Oscar.
Kilo. Okay, right on. That suffix is same as a buddy of mine. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that you didn't really recommend any used radios when making the recommendations until mentioning the 817.
Yeah.
Is there a reason you were keeping the used radios out of your list?
Anyone can take
like
any
continued stuff.
Anyone can take any of my recommendations and go get a used radio of the radio that I recommended. I have no problem with that. But generally, if the person doesn't have access to like an Elmer, a club, or is highly confident, or just doesn't care and just will throw money at something to save $100, then I kind of am hesitant to tell them to go down the used path. Unless they know who the person is, like, well. There's a lot of scammy stuff that happens in radio. It happens everywhere in every hobby, but we have our own bit of it too.
Radios, that does make sense because especially for a newer ham, the radio is like a big black box that sounds go in and out of.
Right, and there's a ton going on. And, you know, you got to ask yourself, why are they selling the radio? I'm talking about new, like, semi-new radios. Why is somebody selling a brand new radio? Is it because it's broken? There's a quirk in there somewhere that they've induced somehow? It always scares me. There's nothing that I would hate to have more happen than people watch my video. Josh says go buy used. They go out, find something used, get burned, hate ham radio because of it, or worse, they get the radio and they think that the bands are dead or there is no activity on the radio and they're just not getting it to work properly because there's something wrong with the radio. Just so much frustration in that. I just want to help people avoid it if possible.
Well, thank you. And a suggestion for a future video. A lot of folks in my area in the Midwest live in apartment buildings with metal roofs. So if you can cover dealing with antennas for buildings that have metal roofs, that would be fantastic.
A mag mount. Just put that mag mount on the metal.
Yeah.
It's already metal, man. Just put the mag mount up there. That's
maybe, I don't know. Like they got seams and stuff between the pieces of metal. I don't know how well that works or not. Maybe
we're talking about HF or VHF.
I was
UHF.
thinking more HF, but yeah.
Yeah. Can you just put an antenna on the roof? Will they let you do that?
Actually, for myself, I made a deal with my landlord where he said I'm allowed to put one antenna up, and as long as the local municipality doesn't give him any hassles, he doesn't care.
Does anybody actually go up on the roof?
I went and no. Well, there's some HVAC equipment up there, so whenever somebody needs a repair, yes, but otherwise, no.
You can put up a dipole with a freestanding mast, inverted V style. Just get it up as high as you can.
How high above a metal roof like that do you think I need to get?
Don't worry about it. Just put it up.
Okay.
Put it up as high as you can, but you're already high because you're on an apartment. So what? I mean, how many floors is the apartment?
It's actually only a two-story building. So,
yeah, it doesn't.
I could only get the antenna up because of local regulations. I can only put stuff up 12 feet above the height of the roof. Mm-hmm. So I could put up a dipole up there that high above the roof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so dipoles are cheap. Telescopic fishing poles are very cheap. Build one, try it out. Tell me how it works. I would be fine with putting a dipole up. Put a dipole up, inverted V, get a good ground plane on that puppy. You got it with the metal, go for it. Yeah.
Might give it a shot.
Cool.
Thank you, Josh.
All right, Matt, take it easy. See ya. Thanks for calling. All right, very good. New caller, what's your name?
Hey, Josh, Chaz here.
Chaz, how's it going, man?
Not bad, not bad. I've watched your channel for quite a while. I love your stuff. It's really great.
Thank you.
Just wanted to call in and say hi for once.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm fine with just people calling in and saying hi.
Hey, no problem. I'll let you get back to what you're doing. Keep up the good work, and thanks again.
I will. Thank you very much. Take it easy. 73. Oh, I cut him off. Sorry, Chaz. Take it easy. All right. Cycle Camp. How's it going?
Hey, how you doing, Joe? Good to hear from you.
Good. How's it going, man?
Yeah, it's going great. So I got a couple quick comments. I have an RTL SDR, and I use that with HF all the time. It works great. I just had to put a broadcast filter in front of it.
Yes, great point.
But you do have to go in and you have to change the instead of using quadrature mode when you're on HF, you have to change it to the IQ mode.
Yep.
At least in the SDR Sharp software, so that works great.
That's
the other thing I wanted to mention
sample.
was. Oh, go ahead.
No, there's a checkbox you got to do. It's like it's some kind of sampling rate, right? Or it's when you go to HF.
Yeah, you should increase the sampling rate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you need to increase the sampling rate, and you have to change it from quadrature to the IQ mode, where it's looking at the IQ output. Not all SDRs make the IQ output available, but the one you had, the website you were on that had the RTL SDR something 38 has that already, and that's a real cheap one. That's like $20.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
So it's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm not against the
other thing
RTL
is,
SDR. I just like the new Alex because of the form factor. You can get two of them and you can do unitrunking. Yeah. So if you get two, you can put two of them stacked on top of each other in adjacent USB ports, and you can do unitrunker. So you can do trunked radio scanning with those guys versus RTL SDRs. They take up too much space. That's it. That's my only complaint.
Oh yeah, because they're just too fat. Yeah.
Too fat.
I get you. The other thing I want to mention was I own a 718 and I own 4 450s. I have 2 without tuners and 2 with. And I have to admit, I do like the 450s a lot better. And I love the 718 forward-facing speaker, and I love having that digital pad to put the frequencies in. That is really slick. Mm-hmm. But the thing I don't like about the 718 is you cannot key to radio through the computer. The CIV interface on that does not support the PTT command. And the other problem I have is I have 2 other problems. The other one is that 13-pin connector for data modes is a real bear if you're making your own cables. And the last thing is those radios are really sensitive to power. You cannot drop the power. If you're not right on 13.8, you are not going to get a full 100 watts out of that. And they don't cover 6 meter. And I don't have any of those problems with my 450s.
Well, then let me ask you this question.
I'm still a big 450 fanboy.
If you had to go operate from a park, would you drag out one of the 4? Well, you got 4, so you probably have expendable copies of it. But would you rather drag out?
Almost the same size.
Are they really? I thought the 450 is bigger.
No,
heavier.
The 450 is like a 1/4 inch bigger. It's really not bigger at all. The 718 and the 450 are very similarly sized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well,
and that's why I got the 718. I got the 718 to take it portable, and then I try to run it on a battery, and even with a fully charged battery, I can only get 60 watts out of it.
I think the trick is going to be for everybody watching. This goes back on my used comment. Go get a 706 Mark II. Mark II-G.
I just worked on somebody's Mark II. Isn't that funny? I just got finished repairing a guy's Mark II-G.
Should we go get those instead?
Radio, that is.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, those are great little radios if you could find them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted to call and say, hey, I really appreciate you distracting me. I just lost my mom yesterday.
Oh my gosh!
Corona thing.
No way, really?
Yeah, and it's just really nice to have something to take my mind off of stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's
no big deal. Don't want to bring down your chat or anything, but thanks a lot, and it's nice talking to you. You and I haven't talked in quite a while.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling, man. I'm sorry to hear that, but thank you for calling and try to, I don't know, play some more radio. Takes your time.
Yeah. Take it easy, sir.
All right, take it easy. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that's a bummer. Man, Cycle Camp. Just want to give a shout out. Nigel, you're in there, man. I see you. Just got to hang on. There's 2 people in front of you. We got the KEK. Is that your name? Keck? Who is this?
My name's Leaf. I don't know.
Leaf?
What are you talking about?
Yeah. What's your name? I have you in here as something else. Leaf? Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
You've called in before?
Yeah. Well, I mean, long time, first time.
But you've never called in before?
No.
Oh,
no.
Wacky. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. You already had a name attached to it. Your number.
Oh, that's scary. Yeah, new number. So you keep bringing up this icon, this 706 Mark II. What would you say the big drawbacks are of that radio, if any?
It's old.
It's old?
It's old. Yeah.
Great performer?
Yeah. Good performer. What is it, all band? Is it all band? I think it goes through VHF, UHF. Somebody will correct me in the chat, but yeah, the 706 Mark II-G, if you can find them, good radio. They would function in a portable, more mobile type category. The problem is they're highly regarded, well loved, and old. So you're at the point where, the person who just called in, Cycle Camp, he was saying he just fixed one. So you may have to get to the point that you might have to start having capacitor exchanges. So
okay,
I don't know.
So for the capacitor problem on there, do you think that you might be able to put a little whip grease on there and fix those up?
Oh, now I know who this is. Son of a man! Why do I have you as Keck? Why do I have you as Keck?
because that's my call sign.
Oh, that was what it is. That's what it is. VEC.
Gotcha. Hey, yeah, so serious business. What I wanted to tell you was a local guy here who's well known in MCOM stuff and teaching.
Yeah.
He got me onto this guy's website. It's Kilo Delta 2 Charlie. .com, and he's doing pat boards for all sorts of what you would consider mobile HF radios. And I've got a couple ordered for my 891. He's actually going to do the IF tap on it, but it opens up a lot of interesting possibilities for some of the radios that you were talking about on the live stream there for the HF side, because you could have a pan adapter with them, and then you can cat control them.
Is this the PAT V9100? Or is it the High Z tap?
Kilo Delta 2 Charlie.com.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, but there's a couple of options.
Yeah, you have to go and find the one for your radio, but we're about to put one in the 891, and I think that is a really interesting offer. Like, it's an interesting opportunity for guys that want to have a pan adapter and also want to, you can do ham radio deluxe or whatever you want to do for cat control, but it could be a really cool option for people because, my experience with the 891 has been really, really good, especially with that DSP. It just smokes my 5300. So I just thought I'd bring that up and let you know.
Oh, you're gonna just come up there and drop some fighting words and then leave us again for months. This is whip grease, everybody. The legendary whip grease for those that didn't pick up on this.
I'll be around. Don't worry.
The man, the myth, the legend.
We've been getting crushed. You said you had a Calgary contact, and I figured you were talking about me.
No, I don't think I've ever. No, we did work FT8 before, but we never worked single sideband.
We tried FT8. Well, we tried single sideband. We couldn't do it without using the midpoint SDRs to do it. We just couldn't punch through. So, but we'll try again.
I bet you can hear me now. I got an amp, and my antenna is much improved.
All right, man. I'll leave it to some more serious callers. I just wanted to.
All right, buddy. Thanks. It's good to hear you again. Take it easy. See ya.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. So there was a couple super chats that came in. Jeremy Williams, thanks for the amazing videos, buddy. Found you through Mike Glover's page. Mike's the man. I gotta do some part of a video where I talk about him. What an amazing guy. And I've been addicted to your videos. Have a beer on me. Yeah, I love that. Lee Harrell with the 762. There it is, my favorite number. Have you ever messed around with any of the old military radios? I watch Radio Prepper, love Radio Prepper, and I'm very intrigued. Looks like a lot of fun. Thoughts? Yeah, so military radios are heavy as balls. Well, it depends on how big your balls are, I guess. They are super, super heavy radios, and they usually need some work to get them to support HF on the amateur spaces. Some level of work to get them into where you should be. So, I don't know. I do have interest, but not the most interest. I like lightweight stuff that I can just traipse up a hill and get into activation. Hang on the phone. I'll get to you. Mike Knapp, Josh, loved your videos and all you're doing for the hobby. 7-3 from K8YO. Appreciate it. Okay. Here's somebody we know and love. Spawny, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's happening?
How you doing, man?
Not too bad. How you doing?
Good. What's going on?
Not too much. Just trying to keep COVID free.
Yeah, you do. You need to keep COVID free.
Yeah, I'm doing a pretty good job at that. My question was, how come nobody ever talks about 11 meters?
Were you around for my April Fool's joke that the admins put on the Ham Radio Crash Course?
Yeah, kinda.
Where it was the CB Crash Course for 24 hours, and we did a CB live stream. I dragged out my Cobra Classic, and we worked CB. You might have missed it.
I've actually sitting on top of Bearcat right now.
Right on. No, I'm so this is the Ham Radio Crash Course, obviously. But I support all kinds of radio. I have no problem with that. In fact, bit of a spoiler. I've mentioned it before, but I shot before the human malware virus took off. I shot a series of episodes with a team of television producers for a television show that's going to be multiple episodes. I think I'm on a couple of them, and the CB is part of one of them. So
Sweet. We'll have to watch out for that.
I'm going to be on television. Whew, that's a scary
I haven't
thought.
watched TV in over 2 years. But
Yeah, me too, pretty much. Yeah, I'm mainly YouTube for everything. I watch YouTube for like everything I do.
I just found the TV was polluting my mind. It's the same dribble over and over and over again.
Okay, I won't disagree with you on that. Spawny, do you have another question? Because I got 4 more calls and then I'm wrapping her up because we're passing 2 hours right now.
My question is that last caller, he really didn't know who was next when he was going to let you get on to some better conversation.
He did not. He did not. I didn't even think about mentioning it. It was so surprising when I realized, I'm like, who's this caller? I know this voice. Yeah, the whip grease, man.
I got his voice straight away because him and I used to argue all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's true. All right, we're gonna let you.
And sorry about that fellow's loss earlier.
Cycle Camp. My heart goes out to you, man. Sorry about that. And this is why we're staying inside, guys, because we don't want our loved ones, particularly the older ones, getting this and potentially passing away. So, all right, Spawny, take it easy, man. I'll talk to you later. See ya.
Step 3.
Okay, we've waited. It's the man, the myth, the legend, Lord Nigel.
Hello, Josh.
How you doing, man?
Laird Nigel.
What?
How you doing?
But it's Lord, right? Laird
Laird.
it stands for Lord, right? But your name is Nigel.
No, it means a Scottish landowner.
Landowner. That's it. I keep screwing that up. Sorry. How you doing, Nigel?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like everywhere else in the UK, we're locked down. And I'm a carer for my wife, and she's got complicated medical conditions. But I always say that thing, like you're saying about the getting ham radio. All my ham radio gear, most of it is used. I've got DX77, very good radios.
Yeah.
And they've got the mobile version. Yeah,
Yep.
and they work. But unfortunately, I bought mine off from the dealer, so I had some warranty with it. And I've had it nearly 10 years. And the Linko one, the SDR one for $600 is not a bad buy.
Yeah. Well, I'm not against used. I'll say that. But you kind of filled in the gap right there, right? You said you bought it from a reputable dealer. And if you had to buy used, okay, sure. That's a way to go. That's a little bit safer than kind of fly-by-night, pay somebody on eBay and hope you get what you paid for, right?
Yeah. Well,
that's my
I've
concern.
got another HF radio that's got problems, but I've had that other one, and they're the main importer in the UK anyway. By the way, if people are watching, listening to this, I'm KG0PL in Fort Collins, but I'm not there. I'm in the UK called G0MEJ, and I've got a studio microphone like you've got.
You sound good. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm running Linux as well, so Windows doesn't work with the studio mic so well, so there we go.
Which mic are you using?
We're going to get one of these Chinese condensing ones, not very cheap.
I'll show you what I just popped on. I'll be right back. We're gonna get these into the stream in a second, and hopefully soon. Here's the new mics that I got. Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man, these things. This is what I shot or did the podcast with my wife on. These are fantastic mics. Oh my gosh, so good.
How about Dr. Bob?
What's that?
How about Dr. Bob Heil?
Oh yeah, I actually have never really used any of his mics. They have them.
A wee story there, a little story. I worked Dr. Bob from my home, and people saying about you over here in the UK, planning permission is very difficult to get. Most amateurs over in the UK are running 100 watts, and we're only allowed 400 watts at the aerial or
That's
antenna.
Right. Yeah.
And very few people have towers in the UK. So you guys got to listen to us.
I try, man. I point my antenna over there, and I hope to get you, but I don't hear a whole lot of you. I can't get anybody most of the time from.
Well, I live by the coast here. My aerial's up in the loft. I've got the original Cobweb built by Steve Webb, Chief TBW, and my main other HF aerial is a slinky dipole, 2 coils either side a 4-to-1 Ballon. Four coils in an L shape, confession room in the loft.
Hey, how do you do with in the loft like that with the antenna?
It's doing all right, and I made myself a RF choke to stop the RF going down the coax with those clamp-on filters, and it works very well.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Anyway, hey man, you're running my phone bill up.
No, wait, are they charging you for this? What? Really? No,
I'm using Skype. So
okay.
I'm using Skype, but yeah.
All right.
It says phone call rather than Skype to Skype call, which would be cheaper.
Gotcha.
But I will drop. You just drop me an email by my US call sign. I'll drop you my my Skype nickname, Josh.
I have an email from you. I did reply to you. I'll send you another one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. It's good talking to you, Nigel.
Anyway, local time is 3 or 4 in the morning. We're 1 hour ahead of GMT.
Yeah, it's early for you. I know Callum always has a late show, but to the States. But yeah,
he's a bit of a character, Callum, and one of the stations he talked to in Kidderminster, I actually met that gentleman. There's a place in Kidderminster called Zion Hill, and I actually met the gentleman he was talking to on 80 meters. I talked to Callum 2 weeks ago on my on 80 meters.
Mm-hmm. You did. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right
so
on.
There you go. Now, drop me a line, and if you want to do a Skype to Skype call rather than me running the phone bill up, I'll do it.
Okay. Sounds good, Nigel. You have a good rest of the weekend, man. Take it easy.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. All right, a couple of super chats here. I want to say thanks to M0JEO. Asked a very important question. Best Warhammer 40K Vox set. He said box set. I don't. Can you get different Space Marine chapters? Can you get the Salamanders? I would go with the Salamanders if you were a Space Marines guy. Eldar's always fun. They're quirky. Yeah, I would go something like that. Or orcs. Go orcs. Not enough orcs, and you want to spend the rest of your life painting anyway, so that would be my recommendation. You didn't expect a hot 40K comment, did you? Spawny sent $4.20 and said it's $4.20 somewhere, so thank you, Spawny. Okay, we got a couple more calls here. Somebody else asked a question I got to come back to. Hey, new caller, what's your name?
Hey, Josh, name here is Keith, and the call sign is November 9, Quebec Delta Sierra. How you doing today?
Very good. Thank you. Thanks for calling in. What's going on?
Well, first I want to say that I do like your videos. You do a pretty good job for all the new hams out there. I'm an electronic engineer by trade, and I've been a ham since 1976.
Right on.
But I just wanted to mention a couple of things. First off, you never touched on the blind hams and the ability to use the speech button on some of the radios.
This is true.
That was
this
just
is true.
one thing.
Yeah, this is very true. It's a good point.
And the other thing, I'm not blind, but I'm just saying I have a lot of blind friends, unfortunately. But what I also wanted to mention is on the lesser expensive HTs, as you mentioned, and also the lesser expensive mobiles.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get into a high RF environment, and I mean like Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, you're pretty much done before you even start because there's nothing but RF floating around in those cities.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you would be better off upgrading to a middle class at least, because that's how they get away with the cheaper radios is they take all that filtering out of the front ends
mm-hmm.
and even the wide bands. You're able to receive all that, and there's no filtering in the thing. And like I said, in a farmland or rural area, you probably would be fine with the lesser expensive radios.
Mm-hmm.
But in a big city, forget it. That's all I wanted to mention.
That's a really good point. No, that's a really good point. So yeah, you might not experience you might not be in a heavy RFI environment, but if you are, you're probably going to be a little bit better served. You spend a little bit more money, get a better radio. I know that you might have seen my video that I did on tracking down RFI in my house. I was shocked by all the RFI generators that I had. And this is, I am fairly proactive in hunting down RFI sources and killing them, you know, putting ferrites on them, doing what I have to do to make them calm down. And I'm still always surprised. I still find something. And I've pretty decent noise level now from it, but still it's an ever-ending process.
We got a new fridge one day, and I tried that evening. I tried to work my refrigerator.
Yeah, the damn fridges, man, they are out of control with the RFI. Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, so, Keith, thank you for calling in, man. I appreciate the insight.
Yeah, and you have a good day, and continue on with what you're doing, because you're doing a great service for the ham community.
I thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good rest of your weekend, too. See ya.
You too, and be safe.
All right. Bye. Okay, we got two more. I turned off the phone lines. I appreciate everybody who called in. That was a lot. And this is record stream. Aside from my field day stream, 2018 field day stream. Was it 2018? I think it was. I did 8 hours or 10 hours live streaming. That was a nightmare. First-time caller, what's your name?
My name's Steve.
Steve, how's it going?
Pretty good. I've been watching your show for a while. Got really interested in the ham radio from cell phones, actually.
Oh, okay.
And I was wanting to know if this online test is applicable for me. I live in Enid, Oklahoma.
Yes.
All right.
Bad news is the list filled up. Did you sign up?
Darn. No, not yet.
So I you know, a lot of the discussion for the online testing is happening on my Discord. So if you could join the Discord, and there's another Discord too, but I don't know how that whole thing works out, but definitely join my Discord. There's a couple people that are actively involved in the planning and coordination for the online testing. So when openings pop up, you'll probably hear about it first over there.
Okay. Thank you very much. And
no problem.
I've got a Baofeng EB5R. When I get my licensing, what would be the best radio for me to buy?
I already covered that about an hour and 45 minutes ago. So you're saying when you get licensed and you want to upgrade from a Baofeng, where should you go?
Yeah.
How much money do you want to spend?
I'd say roughly about $150.
$150. Yaesu FT70, Yaesu FT60. Or no, that's the price range. Yep, right there. There you go.
All right, thank you. And,
all right. Thanks for calling.
I love your show.
Take it easy. See ya.
Thank you.
Bye. Chuck, you know I don't hate the 991. Stop it with that. I'm just using examples. I don't hate it. I don't like the screen, but I don't hate the radio. I like the 7300 screen. I would like if the 7300 was all band, all mode, but it's not. Anyway, final caller. All right, final caller. First-time caller. What's your name?
Hi, Josh. My name is Monvel. My call sign is Kilo November 4, Juliet Foxtrot Kilo.
Hey, all right. Juliet Foxtrot Kilo. JFK. All right. How's it going, Monvel? That's an interesting name. Where does that come from?
From my grandmother. She named my dad that, and I was named after my dad, and nobody else I know has that name.
I have never heard that name before. So, how are you doing?
It's not even in the name books. I'm doing just great.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of things that have been talked about. When I first got my general, thanks to you, back when you wore the tinfoil hat and did the ham radio technician and general helpers.
Yeah, I did. I did that.
I passed my general because of that.
Fantastic.
Went right ahead and bought a Kenwood TS 570.
Okay.
And then was unable to get it to work because I live in an apartment, and it was too difficult as a new tech or as a new general for me to figure out. A few few months later, I got my extra and have been a volunteer examiner for going on 2 years now. Just wanted to call in on this one and say the solution I've found for second floor balcony apartment living is the super antenna. I can sit it on its little tripod that it comes with, and I can tune all bands to 80 meters.
Okay.
And I basically gave up on the 570 and bought Yaesu 891 and an MFJ 939 tuner.
Okay.
Although I don't generally need to use the tuner with the super antenna.
Right. Okay. Very good. Yeah, the 891 is probably a bit better receiver. And then you've got the adjustable antenna with the super antenna. Right on. Very good.
Yep. Been enjoying it and just waiting to see what happens to field day. I am living in Nashville, Tennessee, and have been voted in as vice president of our ham radio club.
Oh, congratulations.
And so have been trying to get over the air meetings because we can't meet face to face now.
Yep. Well, for one, congratulations. That's awesome that you kind of progressed from your general and now you're leading the club that you're in. That's fantastic. So congratulations on that. Good work. And I'm glad you're sorting it out. My guess for field day is there's going to be a lot of backyard portable stations, hopefully running off of emergency power, but I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, probably. I have a 30 amp power supply, but generally I use my Go Box with a 12 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery to power my radios and then just charge it right up when I'm done.
That'll do it. Very good. Well, I appreciate the call in. Did you have any other questions, or we're going to wrap things up here, I think, here shortly?
No, I subscribed to your channel and I've really enjoyed your videos, learned a lot, and just wanted to say hi and thank you.
Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate that. And I'm glad that you got your license and that helped a little bit, the videos that I did. So thank you for that. Have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll talk to you later, okay?
73.
Bye. All right. Very good. Well, man, we really we pushed the limits on this one for sure. Over 2 hours of streaming. I hope that I gave enough people enough information to kind of have an idea of what next to buy. And I will definitely be time-stamping from the moment I start talking about what radios to buy or think about buying and linking it to everybody who asked me again to hopefully help answer this question. So I hope it worked. Anyway, I do have my big thank yous to my patrons that I have to go through here. As a reminder, we are going to go to Discord after this. Believe it or not, I still got more left in me to talk about more radio. So if you haven't already, follow the link in the description down to Discord. Join us over there. We're going to be in the live stream part of the chat. If you scroll down to live stream, there's a voice chat and a text chat. So make sure to check that out. Zach has already posted in the comments, and it's also in the description. But with that said, let me do this first so I don't forget. All right. Let me go ahead and say big thank you to the patrons. Jason Brown, Jason Siebert, David Dansero, Danny Miller, Wesley Magyar, Barbara Schrock, Evan Hartman, Mark Fields, Brad Snyder, Dennis Dunderdale, Garrett Larson, 86 DM Dennis, I saw him earlier, the Wyoming Ham, Randall Hinsley, Dennis Mickelson, David Dansero is in, no, Dennis Dunderdale, he dropped a super chat, thank you buddy, appreciate that, Randall Hinsley, Dennis Mickelson, Michael Hunt, George Gaini, Andy, Kenny Miyamoto, Ron Thorson, Ken Hall, Sean Bales, KJ7ITX, Drageshevich, Rob Zarges, Devin B. Hedge, Mark Chase, Raymond Cracker, Geraldo Kelso, Rob K8BCR, Lee Harrell, Michael Kearney, Stevie Barker, Corey Sheldon, Brad Nadow, Stephen Hunt, Connard Carroll, Mike Marusin, Mike Hurley, Gerald Carpenter, The Brew Crew, I finished my beer. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. Jason Brown, Jason Siebert, David Dansero, Danny Miller, Wesley Magyar. Wait. What happened? There we go. I just started repeating. Stephen Hunter, Justin Rao, Stephen Carduz, Richard Smith, Hercules KC1LZR, John Flowers, Steve Blandford, Michael Calley, Matthew, Tom Wright, Bill McCarty, Good Game Ham Radio. I think I saw him earlier. David Gerald, Michael Deards, Nicholas Dubé, Michael Iafredo, KD9OOF, the oof, Jason Jenkins, John Jensel, Jason Ravenfield, Masi Madi, Daniel Sullivan, Michael Hunt, Jason Legg, Jonathan Williams, Andy Cowley, Don Riley, Jonathan York, Robert, The Grimace, Herb Brassington, James Tartamella, William Hustler, Ryan McDonald, Richard Swartz, woo, killing me. Richard Swartz, Michael Brennick, FN 5.7 by 28, Michael Simonis, Philip Castile Jr., Zach Baker, and Corey Appleby. Okay, I am going to head on over to the Discord after running to the restroom. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you haven't already. I'll talk to you